Yes, what is up? We are live. We are live on YouTube with the Brevity Boys. Sunday night hangs with your Brevity Boys. Big Z, say hi to the people.
What's up, people? Welcome back to us. We missed you guys last week. We took a week off for Christmas, but we're super excited to be back at you guys. I missed you, man. I missed seeing your face.
You
I
know,
missed it so
you know
much.
that
I know we
that's like,
talked a little bit, but
yeah.
I still missed you.
Oh no,
Still
it's
missed you.
different. It's different. These hangs are different. Like it's a hangout for us too. Like the people, if you're one, like those who are watching, those who are checking this out. When like this is how Big Z and I hang out. Like we
Yeah,
both have
right.
kids, we both have a family, we both have jobs, and you're like, like whoever you are listening, you're in the same situation. Like, you already know. Like the
Right.
older you get, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you could just have a job, and then like having a job and working out and having whatever else, like that is enough to keep you busy. And it is
Right.
so hard to hang out. So like this is our time. This is like our
It
time
is.
for us to hang out, catch up, and talk about sports. It's literally why we made the podcast, is we just like talking about sports together.
Right. It's a blast, man. And not to mention like we live far away. Not far away from each other, but like
Wait. We live in California, far away.
right, which means if you don't know, for our listeners and viewers in Canada, because I know we have some, so thank you to you guys. California far away is what, like you're 60 miles away, which doesn't seem too far, but it could potentially take 3.5 hours
Listen,
to 4 hours, just like depending on the traffic, because it's California.
in California, anything over 20 miles could possibly take you an hour and a half to
It
get
could derail
somewhere.
it could derail your day,
Like
like
people
if you
don't
don't plan for it. Oh, for sure.
people don't realize I'm over by the Ontario International Airport. Like just I'm giving people reference. I'm over somewhere in that vicinity. I'm not gonna tell you where. Nice try. But I'm over in that vicinity of things, right? And then you have LA, right? And if you look on
Right.
a map of LA and Ontario International Airport, there's only like 35 or 40 miles between them. That drive will
Right.
take you 3 hours at the
Yeah.
wrong part of the day.
Yes.
Just so people are
Yes.
like, I just want you to sort of understand where we're coming from. So like Big Z and I, like he's not that far away, but even if we were to meet like halfway, it's like it could take some time. But
Potentially. Yeah.
I also do want to say seriously, people, thank you so much. I know we weren't with you for the holidays, Christmas, whatever you want to call it. We love you. We appreciate you. We hope you had an incredible holiday filled with too much food because remember, we told you calories don't count
They do
in
not count.
December. Do not count them in December.
I haven't. My belly. Listen. None of them counted.
Yeah, it didn't
I
count.
don't think. I don't
No,
think.
it
Not
didn't
yet.
count. It didn't. You look
We still got
fantastic.
New Year's Eve and New
You look
Year's to go,
fantastic.
but
It didn't count. It didn't count. So hopefully you are having some great holidays. Just
yes,
an incredible
yes.
season. Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all wrapped into one. I just love this time of year.
Oh,
Hopefully you are having an amazing time. But if no one appreciates you, just please know, Big Z, your Brevity Boys, we appreciate you so much. Thank you
we
so much for
do.
the follows and the subscribes. YouTube, it's been off the chain. You've just been commenting and getting into it with us, and we love it. We love
Yes,
it. We love it. We have a
yes.
very fun episode coming for you tonight. But first, Big Z, let's update the people of what we've been doing. So
Mm.
last weekend, the break started off, by the way, we didn't necessarily intentionally know we were going to spend a break. I don't know if you can hear it in my voice. Last weekend, I was on my deathbed, and there's somebody out there laughing because you know that
Big
like
Z. Big
the
Z.
man
Sorry.
sickness, the man cold is like my wife calls it, dearly, lovingly. She calls it the man cold.
Yeah.
Got me last weekend, and I had a fever the entire weekend, and I was like, I couldn't keep food down. Like it's one of those ones where you like slowly, it's like sipping Gatorade, and
Yeah.
you're just like,
Yeah.
please, just like if something could stay down, this would be amazing. So it
Yeah.
was disgusting.
It's tough, man.
But I quarantined because I knew Christmas was that week. Like we had Eve,
Yeah.
and we do it at my house, right? So
Ooh.
like my family comes over and we celebrate, and like that's what holidays are all about. It's like it's really just a family, right? Like if you don't like whatever you want to celebrate, like it's really about family and spending time with those you love,
Exactly.
right? So I'm
Right.
like, okay, I'm
Yeah.
gonna make everybody carne asada. We are those people. Like, right? I've already said I make turkey for Christmas Day. I make it for Thanksgiving. I make it for Friendsgivings. I make a ton of turkeys. But when Christmas Eve is here, like we get the masa for the tortillas and we get like carne asada and we do
Mm.
the whole 9 yards, right? Like we make this delicious food.
Make me
And so I knew I was
hungry.
gonna, yeah, so I knew I was gonna do that. So I quarantined and so it worked out. We did go straight into that. And actually
Okay.
we've been festive. Like I just finished the Polar Express. So down in Paris, took the
Nice.
boys,
Yeah. Yeah.
like the whole movie thing. What you been up to this week, Big Z?
Man, it was a whirlwind, man. So once Oliver came into the picture, my parents live about four hours north of us. And so once Oliver was born, she was like, okay, eventually, like, we're gonna have to start doing like the switcheroo for Christmas, right? Like
Right,
one year
right,
with us, next, like,
right.
and it is like it's fine, fair. So
Yep.
this year was the first year that we did that. So we last week we went up north to see my parents, see my family. The
Wow.
Caitlin was there
The
with
Caitlin was there.
her 4 month old
Wait,
baby.
wait,
So I
wait, wait.
got
Pause. Pause. Was she
the
weeping?
Caitlin.
Was she still weeping from
Oh, she
the
was so mad.
NLDS?
Like when I brought up the Dodgers, she gave me like this death glare that I haven't seen since I was a little child. And the Caitlin is my sister, by the way, for those of you that are not aware.
Also, we
And
love you, the Caitlin. We support your baby, and we love
yeah,
you.
yeah,
We
we
love everything
support you
about your
guys,
family.
but not your team, the Padres, the Poodres, as Oliver would call them. But we went up there. We got up there. We hung out with two of the three sisters, my family, my parents. My brother-in-law's two new babies. Oliver was having a bunch of fun. Was there? They got there. Yeah, Christmas Eve, Christmas, and then on the 26th we left. That was Thursday. We left at 8 a.m. because we had to get the rental car back, and then we had Christmas with Haley's family.
Right.
And so it was just like 4 days straight, no naps for Oliver. So though he was having fun, by the time like that 3 o'clock rolled around, he was just like, he's 3 years old. He was just losing it a little bit. So it was a whirlwind. And then Friday,
Yeah.
my buddy, he got married. He moved from SoCal to Missouri. I was in his wedding, but he came for back to Southern California for Christmas to see his family. So they came over. We went out to dinner with them. So it was a big week. So Saturday finally was the
Right.
first day that we could kind of chill, put all the Christmas stuff away. Um, and just and then watch football a lot. Loved the game yesterday, the Broncos and Bengals game, but it was good, man. Just like a whirlwind. Like, I don't know if you've seen Four Christmases, but it's the one with
Vince Vaughn and Reese
Vince
Witherspoon.
Vaughn and Reese Witherspoon. Yeah.
His brothers are like the MMA guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
And so
amazing.
when he takes him out to, or when they go, Vince Vaughn takes Reese Witherspoon out to like the fan or the work holiday dinner. Like
Right.
his coworkers talking like, yeah, like Christmas is a super stressful time, but it's all about family. But like you're just super stressed, but that's what the holidays are. And I was like,
Right.
wow, I felt that this, I felt that like it wasn't bad. It was fun, but it just went by so fast because there was
Yeah.
just so much to do. There was like nonstop, and so yeah, man, it was crazy. It was crazy. So I'm glad to be home. Like that saying, like you always are so glad to go back home to your own bed and just to chill.
Right.
That's how Haley and I feel right now. Oliver's, happy now. Like he was a little sick during the whole week too, but he was a trooper getting through it. And so
Yeah.
it was good, man. It was a fun time seeing the family because I met the two new babies. I haven't met them in person yet. And so that was like great just getting to hold them, play with them. Oliver loved them and stuff. And it's great seeing my parents on Christmas too, because it's been a couple of years. So it's good, man. It was good all around for sure.
That's amazing, dude. That is
Yeah.
amazing. But I gotta ask now that we talked about it. Like, I know we've already had this huge long intro and we're live, whatever. It doesn't matter. This is our podcast. We do what we want. So
Yeah,
it is good.
exactly. Get over it.
I gotta ask you, like, give me your top three Christmas movies. Give me like the three movies you were looking most forward to, like this week. One or two or three.
Christmas Vacation
Okay.
for sure. Like that's like
Yep.
number one on the list. I'm a big Christmas with the Cranks person.
Okay.
Tim Allen. I don't know why. I probably watched it a lot when I was growing up, and so
Right.
I really liked that one. Um, and then I love the Grinch. I love the Grinch.
Then which
So
one? Tell the people which one, man. Stand by it.
the second one, like Jim Carrey. Gosh,
Jim
I can't
Carrey.
think.
Okay.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Very cool.
So that's always a really good one. Great story. But there's like a newer Grinch too that we watched with Oliver this year.
Oh, so good. I love it. I
That's a
can't
good
even lie
one
to you.
too.
I can't even lie to you.
But the Jim Carrey one
Yeah.
it's a really good one. Yeah.
I
How
can't
about
even
you,
lie to you.
man?
I like that. So for sure, Klaus is that. I know.
Yeah.
It's
Klaus, yeah.
new, but Klaus is like the boys love it. We love it. I don't. It doesn't bother me at all that it's cartoon. I'm
Yeah.
here for it.
Yeah, there you go.
So Klaus for sure. White Christmas is like a must. I watch a
Yep.
White Christmas every single movie. And then one that's like more personal, it's not good. Okay, anybody watching this, let me be clear, it's not good. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say this Christmas movie is going to change your life. It's not, okay? And you're probably going to be mad if you actually watch it. Like, why was this guy talking about this movie? Like, it's like just the most 90s just like movie of all time. I'll Be Home for Christmas with Jonathan Taylor Thomas. We watch it every single year. The boys laugh hysterically.
Nothing wrong with that, man.
It's just, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you some people who really enjoyed Christmas, Big Z. Let's jump on in. We're talking some NFL. We're talking some fantasy. We're talking some college football. We've got all coming for you and wrapping it all up with some nice MLB talk. Thank you so much again for joining us. Here's the deal. There were some teams that really secured the W this holiday season, Big Z. Okay. The Chiefs, the Ravens, the Bucks, the Eagles, and the Bills, they went full holly jolly on the teams that they were playing, Big Z. So yeah, we had to, right? We're corny, we're dads.
You have to, man. It's Christmas time.
It's Christmas time. So Chiefs, Ravens, Bucks, Eagles, Bills. Let's talk about them, Big C. I mean, these teams were impressive, and the Chiefs. I mean, look. This was surprising because this is the team that before this matchup, everybody had talked about. Like, listen, they don't win big. They don't blow teams out. And the Chiefs like, relax, fam. We're going to blow some people out. So let's talk about it, man. What do you think about the Chiefs game?
That was the biggest thing going into the game for me. I think, like, can they do this in Pittsburgh? Pittsburgh's a really hard place to play. But I've been seeing it the last couple of weeks. The Chiefs, they always do this. They kind of look bad. I remember last Christmas they lost to the Raiders. And we're like, are they going to win? And then they win the Super Bowl, right? But they always start to get into that playoff mode, right? They start kind of figuring things out, twisting those gears, and start transforming into that dominant Chiefs team. And that's what I saw, like, on Christmas. Patrick Mahomes, I don't know when the last time he threw for over 300 yards was, but he threw for over 300 yards. They did what they always do to win, and they utilized Travis Kelce again. Travis Kelce has again risen from the dead. He's woken up, kind of looked like an old tight end all year. Again, now he has 8 catches, 84 yards at touchdown. They look really good, right? When they let Patrick Mahomes control the game, they utilize Travis Kelce as their main weapon. I still think that they're the team to beat, right? The Bills look flashy, the Ravens look flashy, but the Chiefs did something that a lot of teams cannot do and go in Pittsburgh and win resoundingly, right? 100%. And so, that was my big takeaway from that game. They just do what they need to do to win, and they utilize the weapons that they need to win every game and every year, right? And so that's what they did.
Yeah, 100%. They looked absolutely fantastic. They looked how bad the Steelers looked. Okay, like, I know I'm flustered a little bit, but like when I look at the Steelers, and then I look at a team like what the Ravens did. Right. Chiefs, what the Chiefs did, what the Ravens did, and we'll get into the Steelers and the Texans in a second.
Yeah.
But let's focus first on the positive. The Ravens looks fantastic. Like, this to me is what you want to look like coming into the playoffs. Right? You want to have momentum. Like, there's this idea that, like, you can just gimp in hockey, right? Like, I talk about it all the time. Like, in hockey, just get in. It doesn't matter how you're playing. It doesn't matter what anything looks like. Just get into the playoffs. I don't think the NFL and I don't think baseball are that way. I think those two sports, you've got to be getting hot at the right time. You've got to be playing good football. You've got to be playing good baseball. And to me, when I look at these wins, the Chiefs, the Ravens, and even the Bucks, right? Just incredible games. And the Ravens, to me, man, I mean, if Lamar is going to play like that, who's going to beat him?
Right. But that's the thing. Like, we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
The Ravens need to stick to the game plan to win games. And it's run the ball, feed freaking King Henry behind you. And Lamar only had 15 pass attempts, but they just destroyed it. They dominated them because he picked and chose when to pass the ball.
Right.
And so that is exactly, that's the recipe to win. I think if you keep that momentum next week going into the playoffs, you're 100% right. They could challenge the Chiefs if they keep that formula.
They cannot abandon the run. That's the biggest thing to me. If you're the Ravens, you've got it. One of your takeaways from this game is to realize you cannot abandon the run. You can't do it.
Nope.
Like last year, when you got to the playoffs, you forgot what took you to that place. You forgot what took you to the promised land. And this year, you've got to remember, if you get Henry going, if Lamar Jackson feels confident, you're going to be fine. You are not this team that is destined to just be passing the ball around the yard. Like, that is not what you're destined to be.
That's not you.
That's not you. And that's okay. Don't
Right.
be that. That's
Right.
how you take a bad loss at home to the Chiefs. You
Right.
try to play outside of yourself. You try to be something that you're not.
You try to
And
play like the Chiefs. You're not, if you're trying to play like them, you're not going to beat them.
you're
Right.
not gonna beat them.
Yeah,
You ain't gonna beat them.
exactly.
You ain't
Yeah.
gonna beat them, right?
You're going to play
The,
with your own formula.
the Bucks. I'm telling you what. I saw the funniest
Man,
picture
they
today,
look
Big
good.
Z. I saw the funniest picture today, and it was of Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold in Panthers uniforms, and it just said second and third highest passing yards in the league. Right,
Wow.
in one picture, because that's what's happening right now, right? The
Yeah.
Vikings just had a massive win over the Green Bay tonight,
Yep.
right? Earlier today.
Yep.
They look fantastic. And the Bucks, I mean, they just went full send. We have seen this Panthers team be pretty good down the stretch. Bryce Young looked pretty good down the stretch. He's been throwing the ball around the yard, and really today, like he looked fantastic. I'm not going to sit here and say he looked fantastic,
Oh, yeah.
but he didn't look that bad,
Yeah.
right? He didn't look
Right.
awful, and
Right.
yet the Bucks just, I mean, they just had their way with them. I mean, you look
Yeah.
at their offense; they had like, I think at half they had like 200 yards of offense. I mean, Baker Mayfield alone, 359 passing yards.
5 touchdowns.
Like,
Bucky Irving
oh
had like
boy,
100 yards, total yards at halftime. Like it looked like they were just playing on the schoolyard, those guys
yes,
on
yeah,
offense. It was,
100%.
they looked like they were having so much fun.
Yep,
And the Panthers were just there. And you're like, well, we have to be the team lining up against them because they have to play against someone. So that's what they look like.
yeah, yep.
And it was just like Bryce Young did what he could, man. And he has definitely improved this year, and he did okay today, like you said. But we've talked about it so much. I'm just so happy for Baker Mayfield that
So
he has
happy.
found a home and they just let him be Baker. Like
Mhm.
that's what Baker did at Oklahoma, right? He just was a gunslinger. Yeah, sometimes he makes mistakes,
Right.
but you could tell he's matured and he just looks like he's having fun out there. And they finally found their guy in Bucky Irving behind him. It's just, that's a dangerous team, man. So yeah, it's a great win.
That, by the way, Big Z, I think they, like our listeners, jumped in and listened to us because we told you, right? I jumped on Twitter and we talked about it on the podcast. But Twitter, after they lost their last game, I was there and said, stop giving the ball to Rachaad White.
Right.
He fumbled the ball to lose the game.
Yep.
On this podcast, we've been very critical, right? And not because we don't like Rachaad White. It's nothing personal. We like Rachaad White, right? But if I stop cleaning pools well, I'm going to get fired, right? Like if you get home and there's 25 leaves in your pool, you're gonna be like, dude, did this guy even come today? Like what?
Right. Exactly.
What did he do?
Yeah.
Right. Like, and dude, it could be a windstorm. Okay, my customers have expectations because I've put them there, right? And like, if you're in the NFL,
you set the bar high. Yeah.
I said, well, if you're in the NFL, you also set the bar high, right? Like at some point, you showed this team, like, hey, look, this is what I could be, right? Yeah. And so, like, you have to keep that going. Yes, and it's clear that Rachaad White is no longer on that same pace as Bucky Irving. If you give the ball to Bucky Irving, you're going to be fantastic, and you're going to have an opportunity to do well. But you have to stay in your lane. I'll tell you, just like personally, right? So, for those of you who don't know, I'm a pool man. And what I do, I drive around, and you've probably seen it on your local pool guy trucks, okay? There's like this big machine that hangs off the back of your truck.
Oh, yes, with the tube.
Yeah, so there's two things that – so here's the thing. There's two things that hang off. There's a blue tube thing, okay? That's their pool cart. I actually don't have one of those. I roll around with what's called a riptide. So there's these big vacuums that hang off the back of trucks, okay? And these big vacuums, what they do is they are literally meant to go into a pool that's filled with the debris that those blue tubes you're talking about, right? You guys out there, I'm sure you've seen them. That's like a vacuum, right? So what that does is they hook up a tube, they vacuum straight to the filter or the pump, whatever's there. My vacuum is completely separate. It runs off a car battery, so I can throw it into the bottom of your pool, and it just picks up all the debris, and it has a much bigger mouth, so it doesn't get jammed up. Now you might be wondering, Fredo, why are you telling me this? I'll tell you why I'm telling you this. Because a lot of the guys that have been in the industry for like 20 years, they don't like it, right? Like they see that hanging off the back of my truck, and they're like, "This guy's new. This guy's a noob. He's not old school. What is he doing?" But guess what? That's my game plan. That's what works for me. It keeps my customers happy. I know that I'm going to be faster, more efficient, and your pool is going to look far better if I use that first, and then the next week I come in and I vacuum. Because that first week, chances are I'm going to get most of that dirt. If you have a vacuum, I'm going to get everything out that your vacuum can't eat, and you're going to be super happy. You're going to think like this last Wednesday that I had, Wednesday, let me be clear, Wednesday that I had,
Ooh.
I got a bunch of people pay me that day because they got home and their pool was spotless. And they're like,
Right.
how did this guy even do this? To me, the Bucks, Bucky Irving, that is your game plan, okay?
Yes,
That is
100%.
your riptide. That is what you are cleaning the pools with that is going to make your customers happy, your fans happy. That's what's going to make your game plan work. And it doesn't matter what old school thinks. It doesn't matter what the analysis, and Rashad White, he's been the guy, and he's done amazing for you. Look,
Right.
last year he had 1,000 yards. Forget all of that.
Right.
You've got to do what you have to do to run your own successful business, which is what I do. Run Rashad White, man. Stop it.
Yep.
Stop. Run
Right.
Bucky Irving.
Yep.
Listen to the new school. Listen to the Big Z and the Fredo. Okay, listen to us.
That was
We're
a great
telling you.
metaphor.
We're giving you
Gosh.
that's it, baby. That's
That
it.
was
We're
great.
doing our own thing, and you can
Such
sit there
wisdom.
and you can hate on it. You can look at the back of my truck and be like, "This guy's so new school. Where's his vacuum? Blah blah blah." By the way, my vacuum's in my truck. Stop judging me. All right, look into it. I'm telling you, it's amazing. If you're the
Boom.
Bucks, run Bucky Irving, and just like the Eagles, man, look at they embraced it. They said, "Oh,
Right.
Giants, you don't want Saquon? We'll take Saquon." How's that working out for him, Big Z?
And we'll use our new toy. we'll stop making Jalen Hurts throw 50 times a game because he can't, and we'll utilize this new shiny new weapon. And man, it has paid dividends for that team.
2,000 yards, right?
rushing yards. Maybe the Giants again. Giants are just shooting themselves in the foot. I don't know what they're doing, but Saquon Barkley, that Eagles team. I mean, they slaughtered the Cowboys with a third string quarterback. I mean, yes, Kenny Pickett did well. He got hurt with broken ribs and all that stuff. But then the third string quarterback comes in and they're still just marching down the field because they're utilizing their weapon behind the quarterback in Saquon Barkley. 100%, man.
It's like when Big Z was on the basketball court, man. That's Saquon.
Yeah, well,
you had to account for Big Z. You had to account for Big Z, dude.
Yeah, sometimes.
Before your knees went out, bro. I
Before
know
my knees went
I
out,
know
man.
you were dunking off fools.
But before that ACL was slaughtered, sliced,
absolutely massacred. That's how it is, right? Again, you got to know your game plan.
It is, and then once it was gone, move on from Big Z, right? But that's okay, right? It makes sense. It makes sense. Big Z is old news now.
But I'm saying, dude, if you know, it don't matter who you got under center. If Saquon Barkley's running for 2,000 yards, the defense is going to have to account for him.
Exactly. And and it opens up the game for like today. Devonta Smith goes off today. Next week, it's going to be AJ Brown. The playoffs, it's going to be both of them because you have Saquon Barkley behind him. It's just like the Ravens, right? Like the new toy, Derrick Henry, King Henry behind us. Utilize him. Like these are, gosh, I love the metaphor. Gosh, you're so smart.
You have to, here's the reality situation. Too often, especially in sports, this is the way it is. That was the point of that whole metaphor. This is the way. Rashad White has been the workhorse for the Bucks, right? For the Eagles, it would have been very easy for them to say, nope, Jalen Hurts is our guy. We paid him all this money.
Yep.
This is our toy. This is the guy that gets it done for us. But they didn't.
Yes,
they said, listen,
exactly.
This is the new guy. The Bucks, they didn't. They control their destiny now. This is the new guy. Listen, you've got to be able to adjust. You've got to be able to see it for what it is and move forward with what's going to be successful. And all of these teams have done that, including the Bills. I mean, last year, everybody was literally saying, hey, dude, get that vacuum on the back of your truck, right? Stephon Diggs. He's been Mr. Faithful. This is what's worked in the industry for years and years and years.
You needed the number one receiver.
You have to have the alpha. And have they taken a step back? I don't think so. They look fantastic. And by the way, we've talked about on the podcast before, Big Z, you've made an incredible point before about Baker Mayfield. I think it was week 2 or 3. You started making a point about why he looks so special. He didn't have to worry about. That's what's freeing about Baker Mayfield. Mike Evans is not the receiver who's saying, I need the ball, I need the ball, I need the ball. He just gets to hit the open man. And it just so happens Mike Evans is really good at football. So he's open a lot.
Right.
That is what's freed up Josh Allen. He no longer has the guy in his ear. I need the ball, I need the ball, I need the ball, I need the ball. He didn't have that no more. Yep. It's that guy's open. Now Coleman's open. Now Cooper's open. Now he's open. Now
I'm open. I can run 50
throw
yards.
the ball to a guy who doesn't wear shoes, for Christ's sake. I mean, what more do you want? It's whoever's open.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, you talk about like old school mentality. Like look at the Warriors, man. Look at Steph Curry long ago. Like when Klay Thompson and Steph Curry came into the game, they revolutionized the game of basketball. I know we don't talk about NBA a lot. We just talked about this a lot. I'm on to bring it in. They revolutionized the game. There was no 3-point shooting the way the capacity at the clip that they were shooting the ball, right? It was maybe 10 to 15 threes a game. This team started jacking up 30 to 40 threes a game.
Yeah.
And it literally changed the game. If you're like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't how you play basketball. And it may not be. Like, it may not look pretty. It's kind of boring, maybe to the fans' eyes, but they won. They won so many titles because of it, right? Because they did something that's unorthodox. And so you're exactly right with Josh Allen. He is so much better of a weapon because you can utilize so much more of his I don't even know what, just his talents,
he can
right?
utilize
Like
the open
his
man.
skills.
He's not worried about upsetting.
Right.
That is the biggest issue. When you look, most of you out there at some level, you know what this is like, right? You have that coworker who maybe brings down the team a little bit, and they may be this bright shining star. Everybody may love them, but you know when you work on a project with them, it's their way or the highway. Even if you know, hey, if we go this way, it's going to be a little bit more efficient. It's going to be a little bit better if we just tweak it a little bit. But because they're on your team and they're the bright shiny star, and they are good. They are good. You're not saying they're not good, but they're good at what they do. But it just it won't work quite as well. That's what we're talking about here. Right? That's what makes Josh Allen better. He no longer has that thing. Look, Stephon Diggs, nobody on this podcast is trying to say Stephon Diggs is not a very talented and has been a very talented wide receiver. It's not what we're saying. What we're saying is when you lose the ego, right, it frees you up to now say, I don't care who I'm throwing the ball to. Whoever's open is getting the rock. So if you want it, get open. Right? And that's what makes it special. That's why just to your point, that's why the Warriors broke the NBA. Because Steph Curry was so unselfish. He's like, yeah, Kev, come on over. And then all of a sudden the super team was super born. And here we are not talking nearly as much about the NBA. So way to go, Big Z. Way to bring that up.
You're welcome. Yeah.
How dare you?
It's
because I brought up your knees.
I uplifted them, but also as a slight.
I brought up his knees, and now Big Z just on the warpath. That's what happened. So you know what I mean?
It's just one bad knee, okay? Just 2 torn ACLs and the one knee, okay?
Well, you know what though? Oliver's gonna have a great shot because if you didn't know this, by the way, we haven't talked about this in a long time. Mrs. Big Z, Hall of Famer, right?
Hall of Famer. That's Dude, right.
Oliver's got the best knees. So look out, world. They're not ready. That's right.
Look out. My son's coming. T-ball this spring, T-ball, let's go.
T-ball. Be careful, dude. Baseball is a black hole. It'll suck you right in, and all of a sudden you're building baseball mounds, and you never thought you'd help. You thought for sure your sons were going to play soccer, and then you're building baseball mounds out of clay and clay bricks, and we're not going to get into that because it's far too recent. But we got to talk about another team that is being sucked into sort of a black hole that none of us see. I don't understand what it is. But as soon as the Giants have any opportunity at all, any semblance of like, hey, you could have the first pick overall, they're like, no. We got to win a football game. Like, I don't understand it, Big Z. Really don't.
Drew Lock, 4 touchdowns today, 4 tutties. You know, the Twitterverse was going off on them. And it is fun, right? But I'll just be like the voice of reason here, and no one really likes old man Z, you know, when I am the voice of reason. But here it is. Like these guys, a lot of these guys on the Giants are playing for their next year's contract. Like they're playing for their careers. So no player on the Giants that's going out on the field is going to say, I'm just gonna, just play 50% of my effort because we want the number 1 pick next year, regardless if I'm there or not. Right? Like that's just not, especially in the NFL, like you don't have a lot of job security in the NFL, right? Like none of your contracts, most of them are not guaranteed for the next season, like probably 90% of them. And so there's my old man Z take. These guys are actually playing as hard as they can, and they just had a really, really good day. Drew Lock showed why he's a really competent backup quarterback in this league. But it is funny as an organization, the Giants are probably like, yeah, like, we hope we lose this game. So if you're going to go with that route, like probably, bench some of these guys that like maybe neighbors or maybe put in your 13 quarterback or something. But that's my take on that thing because like they're trying out essentially for next year. You know,
I think that anybody with that would think that that's an old man take needs to
but
have their
a
brain
lot of
checked.
people
I'm sure they would, and I saw a lot of the same thing, and I think a lot of Twitter. I'm on Twitter. I love Twitter, by the way. But a lot of us, myself
You're good
included,
at it.
probably need to have our brain checked because at the end of the day, like I felt similarly for like 2 seconds, and then I thought, wait a minute, we ask these guys, these same guys, every Sunday to go out there and kill people, right? Like that's what we ask, right? Like run through that guy as hard as you can, as fast as you can, every single play, right? The offensive and defensive line,
Yeah.
every single play is, hey, dude, I want you to be a gladiator and just
Right.
butt, just, right? Get in there, and do the thing, right? And then we say, well, dude, you have the opportunity to first round pick. No, you cannot have it both ways. Either you
Right.
want gladiators or you want guys who are worried about the first round pick, right? Either you want gladiators who are willing to put their body, their souls, their lives, their minds, their families, the whole 9 yards on the line, each and every single play, or you want guys who are worried about the first round pick. I am
Right.
not worried about this. And if you're a Giants fan, kudos to you. And their fans, by the way, if you actually watched, their fans who were at the game were over the moon.
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, no one left. Beers were had. They were having a blast. They were finally excited to watch their team win for the first time at home this year,
That's
by the way.
crazy. That's
They were
crazy.
excited to watch that. That matters so much more to that organization. By the way,
Pride.
I just want to say
Pride.
this. First round picks are overrated. All right. That's right. Big Z, mark this. Put it on our Instagram so everybody can hate on
Mm.
me. All right.
Mm.
Mark the timestamp. First round picks are overrated a
First overall
lot
picks
of
overrated.
the time. Right. Oh, sorry. First overall picks. Apologies. Slip of
Yes.
the tongue. First overall picks are overrated so much of the time. Right. We're seeing it
Yes.
this year.
Yep.
Jaden Daniels is better than Caleb Williams. Fact. That's not an opinion. That's fact. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you. It is what it is. And it's not changing. Jaden Daniels looks absolutely incredible. We're going to talk about next week as the season comes to an end. We'll get more into the awards that we like to see. But right now, fact, it's not even close. Bo Nix looks better than Caleb Williams. His ability to read defenses. It is what it is. The first overall pick can be so hard to read.
Yep.
And if I'm the Giants, I'm looking at this thing saying, look, I have neighbors and I have Tracy. I have my building blocks of the future. Tracy looks fantastic. These are two pieces you can easily build your team around.
Yep.
Right? All you need to do is go get a quarterback. And by the way, the quarterbacks coming out of this class, another hot take. I'm just dropping hot takes. I don't see a Jaden Daniels in this class. I'm just going to be honest with you. I'm going to be honest with you. I look at the quarterbacks coming into this class. I don't see a Jaden Daniels. Right? I just don't see it. Okay, and we'll get more into that in the college football segment that we talk about later. But again, I think there's nothing wrong with this. Appreciate your fans. Appreciate the money they've spent this year, not next year. Right? Not next year. You had season ticket holders this year. Appreciate them. Get this W. Do the right thing. Big Z, I'm totally with you. Anybody who disagrees with us can comment on our YouTube page, Brevity Sports, the Brevity Sports. You're already here.
Just
You're
leave
watching
a like.
it. If not, just leave a like and a subscribe. Keep
And maybe
arguing with us.
subscribe. Yeah.
Keep arguing with us. We love it.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, trade the first pick down. Trade the
Trade
whatever
it
you
down.
got. Trade it down. You know, for next year. Get a number 1 overall pick for the next season.
If
Go
you're the
get Sam
Patriots,
Darnold.
if you're the
Go get-
Patriots, wait. If you're the Patriots and you actually secured the first pick, which I read today, please trade it down. Okay. Last year we asked you nicely, but this year, like I'm begging you.
Yeah.
If you're please trade the first pick down.
Right.
Okay. Because all right.
Was it them or the Raiders?
It's them or the Raiders?
The
Whoever it is.
Raiders won too. The Raiders won today too.
Well, who are the Raiders going to pick? Are you going to take Shedeur Sanders first overall? Is that really what you're going to do?
I don't know what they're.
We'll talk. Don't worry.
We'll talk about during the
that
draft. We'll
when
talk
the
about it
draft
during the
comes.
draft.
We'll break all this down for you.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Nerds for nerds.
I can't believe how far JT's falling. Personally, I think a lot of NFL teams are going to make a massive mistake.
Yes.
That dude is falling to the middle of the first round, and he's going to be the best thing since sliced bread in the NFL. Mark my words. Everybody in the NFC clinches, speaking of the best since sliced bread. Everybody besides Tampa Bay. But hey, Baker, look at me. Look at me, Baker. We believe in you. All right, you're going to clinch next week against a bad Saints team. And you're getting the playoffs, and you're going to be fun to watch, and we can't wait. Everybody else clinched besides Tampa Bay. That's exciting, right? My Rams.
Yeah, the Rams did it. I mean, who would have thought at the beginning of the season that the Rams, like you did. But now I don't feel as bad as a Niner fan losing 2 games to the Rams because we lost to a playoff team. It's all good.
Let's be
And
honest.
next year
You lost
we're gonna have an
injuries.
easier schedule
You lost
because we
injuries, and also, I mean, well, Ayuk was injured, but you and I hated that whole thing right from the get go. And now
yeah,
with people are seeing that with Pearsall and Jennings, why, maybe it wasn't the best idea because
right,
those two guys look great. So
right, we can have a
we'll,
whole
we'll talk
episode
about
about
that
that.
again once the
Uh,
season comes around. We'll talk about it.
but yeah, I love. I'm actually kind of bummed. I wish the Falcons won tonight just because I was hoping the Rams didn't clinch this week because I wanted
Ouch.
them. I wanted the Seahawks and the Rams to go at it for the division next. Like I just wanted more playoff clinching
Yeah,
scenarios for the last week of the
yeah,
season. Not that like out of the teams, even though I'm a Niner fan, if the Niners are out, I don't want the Cardinals or the Seahawks. Like that's boring football. Like I want the Rams in the playoffs because it's
yeah.
Matt Stafford, right? Like he's a great quarterback. Like Cooper Cup, you love him. Nakua, you love him. You love McVay, Cameron, all that stuff. So I just wanted more playoff clinching scenarios. So you talk about the AFC next week. You got a lot of potential storylines forming, and I'm really looking forward to that. Like I think that's going to be really, really fun. And I'm glad the NFL they've done this the last few years where they have all the games at the same time on the last day, but now they're going to have a Saturday night game next week, and they have a bunch of different time slots for these games.
Yeah.
And I think it's just fun, man. Like they had some good games this last Saturday, and I'm really looking forward to the AFC. I really hope the Bengals make it. I
No,
really hope
I agree. I agree.
Joey
And
B
you make a great
deserves
point.
it.
It would have been a lot more fun if the Rams had to play the Seahawks when it matters, but it's our podcast, Big Z. Do what you want, man. Talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's skip security L for a second. Let's look ahead. Okay. So we're talking about the W. Let's talk about look ahead now. All right,
Yeah.
we're gonna skip the security L's for a second. You just said it, right? We got Tampa Bay versus Saints. That matters. Broncos versus the Chiefs. That matters. Dolphins versus the Jets. That matters. Bengals versus the Steelers. That matters,
Yep.
right? And they're depending. If you're the Bengals, you're depending on the Broncos to lose, right? That
Yep.
that that has to happen.
Right. To the
Easy talking
Chiefs.
about it. Why do you want the
The
Bengals?
homeless
Because I
Chiefs.
agree with you 100%. Why do you want the
I,
Bengals?
I just think that Joe Burrow just deserves it. Joe Burrow,
Yes.
Joe Burrow has thrown 46 touchdowns, 8 interceptions. Like any other quarterback that would ever put up those stats would be in the MVP conversation. But
100%.
because Joe Burrow's team does not have a defense, they're 8-8, right? And to bring this team back, they were 0-2. They were 4-8. Now they're 8-8. To even have them in the conversation of getting into the playoffs, it's all because of Joe Burrow. And in my opinion, he should be considered for the MVP because without Joe Burrow, this team is nothing. This team is a 2-15 team. And also, they're just so much fun to watch. Just slinging it all over the field. Like you want that in the playoffs. You want high scoring games in the playoffs. You don't want these barn burners, Seahawks, Bears 6-3 games. You want what we got the Broncos versus the Bengals 30-24 overtime drama, right? And just Joe Burrow, there's so many quarterbacks in this league like Aaron Rodgers that would quit on his team if he was 4-8, right?
Yeah.
But Joe Burrow just is such a good leader and it's like, nah, I got you guys. Hop on my back. I'm going to be Daddy Joey B this week and every week to come. And that's why he deserves to be in playoffs. And that's why I want them to make it.
The reason that I agree with you is the same reason I wanted to see just a few years ago the Chargers in the playoffs over the Steelers. And Mitchie is somewhere like losing his mind. It's because I want to watch piss missiles being thrown around the yard in the playoffs. If you're boring, I don't want to watch that. And to me, the Bronco fans are going to be upset. Listen, first, let me just say, I love Bo Nix. I have loved Bo Nix this entire year. Okay. Go back and listen to other podcasts before you come back and come at me. All right. I love Bo Nix. And I would love for Bo Nix to be further along than where he is. But I've already said on this podcast, he does not have the weapons. He does not have a running game. Period. When you have 3 different guys that you're not even sure who's going to start that week, that's a problem for me. Okay. And he has Cortland Sutton and no one else. By the way, all you Caleb Williams truthers who are already upset at us, go look that up, all right? Because Caleb Williams has DJ Moore, Keenan Allen, who's coming off a career year, Dunze, who's a fantastic rookie, and DeAndre Swift coming off yet another career year, and Cole Kmet, one of the best young talented tight ends in the freaking league. All right, so don't come at me. Bo Nix does not have that. Okay, he's
Nope.
got Cortland Sutton and then a series of other dudes who Marvin Mims is emerging. Well, let's be honest. If Bo Nix doesn't drop it in the bucket, Franklin and Mims aren't hitting it. All right, so
Right.
I would much rather watch the Bengals in the playoffs this year purely as an NFL fan.
Yeah.
Broncos make it, I'm gonna be over the moon, and I'm gonna sit here next week and talk about how much Bo Nix deserves it. Let me be clear. When they beat the Chiefs, I will be sitting here saying Bo Nix is gonna win it all. I'll come up with some argument that Big Z's gonna roll his eyes and laugh at me
Over your
about.
Rams? Okay. That
Yeah,
makes sense.
exactly. We'll have to figure out something. Well, I'll have to figure out something. It'll be so ridiculous that I'll know it's not true. And also the Rams. I mean, look at the gauntlet in the NFC. So, but we could do it. Listen, at the end of the day, I want the Bengals, Big Z. I think it's a fantastic argument. Joey B. Listen, all I'm saying, NFL, do the right thing. Okay, when the award is announced, at least show him like he was a
Right.
candidate because he's not going to win. Right? We know he's not going to win. But at least show his face, like when they do the quad box, like
Yeah.
shout out to Red Zone quad box, like show who Lamar Jackson, right?
Yeah.
Josh Allen, Saquon Barklow.
Barklow.
I just combined Barklow and Saquon. Oh boy, here we go. Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Saquon, and Joey B. Like that should be the four guys that you see on the screen because Joey B on any other team, this is electric. This is electric stuff, and the Bengals need to do right by him. I 100% agree. But the Tampa Bay is going to play the Saints, and the Broncos are going to play a Chiefs team with no Patrick Mahomes, more than likely. So we'll see. I don't want to see the Dolphins. Can I say that?
The Dolphins, well, yeah, because the Dolphins are going to barely squeak in, and they're going to have to go play in some snow, and they're going to put up 3 points.
But even still, I don't want to see the Dolphins. Like for that reason alone,
you know what you're going to get. They're going to freeze. They're literally going to freeze.
Lose.
Yes, exactly.
They're going to lose.
Yes,
like because
the Dolphins
in the AFC,
we know what the Dolphins are. We know.
In the AFC, you have to go through either. You have to go through either Lamar Jackson. It's going to be cold, right? Or Patrick Mahomes. It's going to be cold.
Josh Allen.
It's going to be freezing.
Cold. So
like you're going to lose. Stop.
You gotta
stop it.
Or Pittsburgh gonna be cold. Bengals is gonna be it is what it is. We know what we know this story. We've seen this story.
We don't want to see it again.
Years.
We don't want to see it again.
It's a boring storyline. It's not fun.
It was Super
There's
Bowl.
No drama there.
And everybody
know exactly what's gonna happen.
Everybody tried last year. Oh, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have the bye. Look at the Dolphins are gonna have to go play Kansas City. Oh, you got wrecked. No one wants to watch that
beat
again.
us forward. Nah.
It didn't happen. It's not gonna happen.
We know what you are, Tua. We know what you are. It's okay. It's all good.
Bonix, I love you, but if you lose next week, I won't be mad because Joey B has a shot.
Yes.
Joey B, get it done. Speaking of teams that have a shot but actually lost and secured the L, the Steelers, the Texans, and the Cowboys. The Cowboys were already eliminated, but I just want to shout out Jason Stroman as a reminder. Cowboys suck. Moving right along, Steelers, Texans. Listen, if you're the Steelers or the Texans, you're locked into the playoffs. You are going in the wrong way. Like you can't feel good, Big Z. As a Steelers and a Texans fan, how do you feel good watching what's been transpiring?
I don't know. The Texans, man. Like to me, out of those two teams, the Texans look so bad. To put up 2 points on Christmas at home and just get slaughtered by the Ravens. CJ Stroud does not look confident at all. Like I as a Texans fan, I have no confidence in this team, like winning any playoff game at all. Like not even getting close. And you're the Steelers, like just go back to what you like. Let Russell Wilson cook. Like, stop giving it to Najee 15 times a game. Like, let him go out and just throw moon balls, as people call it, and let George Pickens go get it, right? Because that's your recipe for success right there, right? Stop being what you should be and be unorthodox and do what Russell Wilson is good at, what George Pickens is good at. But yeah, they're going trending in the wrong direction. I'd be nervous if I'm both those fan bases for sure.
100%, man. I mean, I want to root so badly for the Texans because I really do like CJ Stroud, and I want him to be better. I just think he's not. And that's the problem that we're running into right now.
Right.
Like, I don't know if it was the offseason. There's a lot of people debating he was seen with this person during the offseason, seen with that person who's on this podcast. Maybe he lost focus. CJ
Maybe
Stroud is a good dude,
he
right?
is. He is.
He clearly is. And I'm rooting for you.
It's a
I'm
sophomore
rooting
slump,
for
I
you.
think.
It's a sophomore slump, but honestly, he's just lost his confidence.
I
And
mean,
that
look,
was so evident. Even
but
in
you
this
look at
game.
Cody Bellinger, right? His sophomore
Yeah.
year in baseball, like he just like plummeted, right?
Yep.
But like we knew he was way better than that,
Yeah.
right? And now he's playing back up to that MVP, almost MVP caliber. And so CJ Stroud, I think that he'll have a bounce back here, but I think there's just a lot more tape on him. People have figured out his tendencies. Maybe he's lost focus. Maybe let him get it to his head a little bit. But he'll be back. But yeah, but right now he has no confidence. You're right about that, 100%.
So CJ, all I have to say, we're rooting for you, but you're not going
Yeah,
to the playoffs the right way.
yeah,
Other losers, other people who secured the L, I apologize. We would never call anyone a loser on this podcast,
yeah.
unless it might happen. But secured the L's, Rodgers, right? So just after a week, we're a week removed from Rodgers saying, "I want to be a Jet for life. I want to be a Jet the next few years." He goes out, gets stomped by the Bills, looked awful.
Yeah.
Big Z. I don't know if you watched any of this. He looked terrible, and if I'm trying to secure a job, if I'm trying to get locked in for like another year with a job, like, hey, manager, I really want to be here. Like, help me. Man, this performance, if you're the Jets, you got to part ways, Big Z.
You do.
You
You just have
got to part
to
ways.
wipe the slate clean. Like go after Sam Darnold again, right? Go after Jameis Winston. Like I don't know how it can get much worse. Like Aaron Rodgers just looks like he was frozen, like stuck on the turf today in Buffalo. Like he just can't do anything. No one wants to be with him either. Like I saw there's a rumor today if he returns that Garrett Wilson is going to request a trade. Right? Like when Rodgers was traded there, Garrett Wilson was rejoicing, and now it's turned into this. It's a complete 180. No one wants to play with him. He's a terrible leader.
Right.
He's all about himself, and it's
Right.
just yeah. If I'm Woody Johnson, like get rid of this guy. Like who cares about this ticket sales? Like you got to start. You have to form an identity as a team. Like you don't have that. You never have. Like you have to get someone who your team can rally around
Yeah.
and who just builds from the ground on up. And and it's not Aaron Rodgers. Like,
and why would you? Like, why would you want to play with him? Like,
Yeah.
when you saw him throw one of the most, like, Mike Williams has not had an incredible career. I'm not going to sit here and say Mike Williams is like this Hall of Famer and just like, oh my God, Mike Williams. I'm not going to say that. But at the same time, like, when you see a veteran like Mike Williams get just disrespected
right.
after a game, like, he was in the wrong spot. Wasn't my fault. He was in the Why would you want to play with somebody like that, right? Like,
exactly.
again, I got to bring some love to my boy because I called him out earlier, but like, one of the reasons I knew Bo Nix was going to work was they lost a game on a Franklin miss, and it was the perfect ball, and Franklin just dropped it. And after the game, they're like, Bo, what happened? He's like, I got to make a better throw. And anyone who saw the throw was like, Bo, you put it on his hands. Like, how could you even possibly make a better throw? But that's what you say as a quarterback. You protect your guys. Aaron Rodgers isn't doing that. I don't know why anyone would want to play with him. I'm over it. Another team secured the L as we move off of this, but we got to talk about it, right? The Bears. Right, the Bears in honor of Dave Swirsky. If you haven't watched his stuff on TikTok and Twitter, he's hilarious. He literally is a Bears fan who had so much hope. He started making these songs about how bad they are, and they're pretty funny. He does it like in a Chicago sort of accent, but they're bad, right? I mean, the defense did everything they could. They held. If I'm a defensive player, right, and I'm saying I held this team to 2 field goals, we got to win the game. We have the number 1 overall pick. We got to win.
Potential playoff team. Yeah.
Like,
I know, man. It's Caleb Williams looks lost. He looks atrocious. He does not look like he belongs in it. Like he looks like he's playing JV against a varsity team. Like he does. Like he holds on the ball so long. so long.
So long for no reason. For no reason he holds onto the ball so long. And when you're looking at a team like this, that look, I get it. There's struggles, offensive line, whatever. Okay, I get it. Before the season, the storyline was the Bears were going to be unstoppable because of all the weapons. They brought in more weapons than they've ever had. More weapons than DJ Moore. More weapons than Justin Fields ever had. Right? More. They had more everything this year, and they're so bad. They are so bad. This was a disastrous loss. You put up 3 points. Look, and Big Z, I know we have a fun graphic we're about to show, but at the end of the day, like before the graphic, we told you, we told Big Z and I told you last year when we saw. I've never seen a quarterback jump into the stands after losing a game and cry to his family.
Yeah.
Like, you're the leader, you're the general, you're the guy. Be on the field with your brothers when you're losing, right? Big Z, tell the people what they're looking at. Tell them, Big Z.
Yeah, this is quarterback sack avoidance and charted accuracy seasons. This chart, football fball underscore insights, give them credit for this, and Scott Barrett on X. As you can see, there's all these quarterbacks, all their names right here at the bottom left. Like, this is the quadrant you don't want to be in. This is the bottom left. And we just talked about Aaron Rodgers, like how he can't move. Like, he's almost up towards the middle right here. You got Caleb Williams all the way down here at the bottom, right? The catchable throw rate, right? Pressure to sack rate. You don't want to be here if you're the number 1 overall pick. The Bears don't want to see this. Bears fans don't want to see this. And it's just embarrassing. Like, he just, again, like, this just shows that the game is just too fast for him right now. And they're not game planning to his strengths at all. And they're just like kind of like letting him be out there like a chicken with his head cut off. And he just doesn't know when he is lost. It's seeing this, like, you feel kind of bad for him. you truly do.
If you're listening to the podcast, you're not looking at YouTube, what we've brought up is a chart on the left side going north to south, south to north, whatever. Catchable throw rate, and on the bottom, left to right, you have pressure to sack rate, okay? And so obviously the guys who are doing great, they want to be on the top end of this, towards the right, ideally towards the left, right? Because you're not being pressured, which we got guys like Joe Burrow, Dak Prescott, guys who have shown Tua Tagovailoa, guys that showed they could do it, Matt Ryan, Justin Herbert, Tom Brady, these kinds of guys that show they could do it, right? Baker Mayfield. And then on the other side of that chart, you have guys who are being pressured, right? Pressure to sack rate, right? And catchable balls, right? Basically what it's saying is, if you're in the bottom left of this chart, that means you are not only you're not being sacked, but you're throwing terrible passes. And that's what we're seeing from Caleb Williams. That's the problem. And we told you. I wish there was a better way to say it other than we told you. Again, we're not saying Caleb Williams can't be a fine starting quarterback in this league at some point, but we told you going into the year when everybody was saying this guy is once in a generation, this guy's incredible, this guy's amazing. He's not, right? He's not those things. That's okay. Again, if you're the Giants, all the more reason to win this game, so you're not even tempted with making a terrible first overall pick. Great job, Giants. Moving right along. Fantasy football, Big Z. It's finally time to talk about it. Fantasy football, the listeners out there, they're joining us. They're in their finals week. This is the championship week, Big Z.
Good luck.
How'd you do?
Well, I didn't make it to any championships in any leagues, but I'm in the third place game in our league. I'm playing James. Shout out to James. I'm currently projected to beat him, but who knows? I have Brock and Jawan Jennings tomorrow night. So in our league, if you win third place, you get your money back. So I'll take that. I lost last week in the semifinals. That was a bummer, but that's how fantasy is sometimes. You just lose. So it was a great first year, I think, of this league for Dynasty. I think 100%. There's a lot of activity going on. I think we definitely set a good precedent for like how we want things to be. We have some tweaks next year, but it'll be good, man. How about you? Any finals for you this week?
I made a ton of playoffs. I made the playoffs in every league I was in. 5 leagues was great. 4 leagues, I apologize. 4 leagues was great. Having said that, I lost immediately in one of those. 2 of those, I ended up losing in the semi. So I was in a third place game. I got slaughtered. Shout outs. That sucked. And then obviously Brevity, I didn't make it because James went off, which is really a bummer because if James doesn't beat me that week, your boy's taking it home. But that's how fantasy football works. We can't cry over spilled milk. I am in the finals in 1 league. I'm doing good. So I'm up 8 points right now. He has George Kittle and Debo Samuel. I'm up about 8 to 10 points. I don't have it pulled up in front of me. 8 to 10 points, but he has Debo and George Kittle, and I have Jahmyr Gibbs on the other side of the ball. So I
Okay.
feel really good. I know Debo has a tendency he can either boom or bust, and George Kittle, but again, against a very good Lions team, I feel very confident with Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm hoping I can take this thing
Yeah.
home,
Yeah.
you
There you
know,
go.
do it. This is a league too, which is really cool. Like I definitely was not supposed to make it, and then I did. I was the seventh
Okay.
seed.
So it's one of those.
Yeah, I
Nice.
was seventh
Nice.
seed right up until the last moment, and two people in front of me lost. I got in, made it. Happy to be here. So hopefully I can bring that home. But we have had a blast talking about fantasy football. Again, we will wrap that up, and we'll be back at it earlier next year for the
Right.
people. All right, we'll
Well,
let
for
you
this
know.
dynasty league though, this is once Tuesday comes upon us, like the league resets. So like trading and all that stuff doesn't stop in the
Nope.
offseason, which is great. And we'll talk about our rookie drafts and all that stuff coming up in May or whatever. So it's gonna be fun. Yeah, there'll be a lot to talk about fantasy football. Don't worry, guys. Don't worry. We
Yep.
got you. We got you.
We'll tell you about our ridiculous trades that I'm sure are going to go down because Jason the Showman Sherman cannot just sit without trading people. It's not even possible for
Yeah,
him.
there's a lot of weird trades in this league, but whatever.
Ton of weird trades in this league. College football moving right along. Playoff committee, how you feeling? I mean, this had to be a bit of a pill to swallow for them, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, Notre Dame takes out Indiana 27-17. It was not that close. Texas takes out Clemson 38-24. Again, not that close. Penn State absolutely blows out SMU 38-10. And Ohio State never in doubt against Tennessee. Big Z, how are you feeling? If you're on the committee, I mean, what are you feeling right now?
I think the committee heard a lot of the outside noise. I heard a lot of the whiners say, "How if
Yeah,
you let Alabama in, if you let Ole Miss in, if you let so and so in, you're gonna hear it because they didn't win the most their games, right? Like the strength of schedule doesn't matter. Strength of schedule doesn't. The wins count. I don't think so. I like you've got to tweak some stuff going into next year. I don't. I'm not going to say that Alabama would have won their first round game, but they would have made it a lot more competitive against Texas or against Notre Dame, instead of Indiana going in there. You can't tell me that those teams wouldn't have at least put a few more touchdowns on the board each. And so for those SEC haters, you don't look good. Like there's a lot of people saying, well, Al, but like they're still standing on their stance. And it's just stop talking. Like this now the college football playoff looks bad. Now it looks like a joke. We should revert back to the 14 playoff, in my opinion. Because if this is what you're going to put on paper and all this money is being spent by these schools and by us, the fans, like I don't want to watch that. It's garbage.
right.
Put in the best teams. Strength of schedule matters. If you're an SEC team and you win 9-10 games, you deserve to be in the college football playoff. You can't tell me otherwise anymore.
No, you can't. Outside of look, there's two conferences: Big Ten, SEC. Like SEC, like that's it. SEC, that's it.
Yeah.
Those are the two conferences. All right.
Yeah.
Big Ten. We just saw it. USC beat Texas A&M. Right. We're talking about the end there. Ohio State takes out Tennessee. Like those are the two conferences that have an actual tendency to be able to compete and beat each other. Until somebody else shows that same vigor and that same drive, at this point, you just can't keep putting these two teams in. I mean, we wanted a lot of people, including myself, kind of wanted SMU to make it in. But looking back, it's like, look, if you lose that final, you're not in because Clemson
Right.
also got embarrassed, right? Not only did
Exactly.
SMU get embarrassed, but Clemson also got embarrassed. So
Yeah.
the team that wins that conference, you're in. The team who lost, yeah, you had a great run, but you played nobody. 100%. And we're going to find out again. You're going to have a Big Ten versus SEC, Alabama versus Michigan going off. You can't tell me it's not going to be a great game.
Right.
That's going to be a good game. Alabama, in my opinion, is going to show the world why they should have been in. South Carolina, Illinois. South Carolina, look for them to make some noise. Again,
Yep.
equally upset. Why are we not in there? It just makes sense. And Duke, if you're out there, you should be absolutely terrified.
Yeah. Yeah.
You should be absolutely terrified because after watching that, Ole Miss is going to come ready. Lane Kiffin, he might tweet, he might say some things that people don't agree with. But if you don't think he's going to have Ole Miss ready for Duke, you got another thing coming.
Yep.
So
Yes, sir.
be on the lookout for those scores. And if we're wrong, we'll talk about it next time. But how
Yep.
you were right, we were wrong. But I doubt it because oftentimes we're right.
Yep.
It is what it is, man.
It
At
is
some
what it
point, you
is.
got to take some credit. NHL, nothing going on. MLB, Burns goes to the D-backs. This is big, big C. I mean, this
That's
is not
huge.
a move that people saw. And the D-backs have one of the better rotations in baseball. Let's not forget, just 2 years ago, they were competing for a World Series. And it came
Right.
down to three teams, the Giants, the Blue Jays, and the D-backs. And honestly, the other two teams, thanks, Gavin, were killed by taxes. Canada and California could not compete with Arizona. That is the story. It also may help, in all seriousness, that Burns' family does live in Arizona, Big Z. Is this a big move for the D-backs?
Oh, it's huge. Like it bolsters that starting rotation and a team that was, they were in wild card contention last year again after the World Series appearance the year before. It's going to help. Like Corbin Burns is a top five pitcher in the league.
Yep. Looks fantastic.
And so it's really exciting if you're them. They have a really good young offensive unit and add an ace to a already stacked rotation with
Yeah.
Zach Gallen, Frankie Rodriguez, like all those guys. They're going to be a formidable team, and you just got to make the playoffs. You don't want to face that rotation in a 3-game or 5-game series, even a 7-game series. So it's huge for them, huge for Corbin Burns, huge for the Diamondbacks fan base, keeping it quiet. I didn't hear anything about the D-backs being in on Burns. It was just Giants or Blue Jays. And they came in, they snuck in, they kept it quiet. They're able to give him the money that he wants. And this is a big loss for a team like the Giants, right? The Giants keep losing out on big names. They got Willie Adames, that's a big name, but they keep losing out on Shohei, on Judge, on all these big names in the past. They lose out again on Corbin Burns. Says something about what players actually think about what's actually going on about the program that the Giants have. So it's a bigger loss, I think, for the Giants and their fan base.
100%, man. I mean, it's absolutely ridiculous. If you're the Giants, just a few years ago, you were the dominant force in the NFL NL West. I know it seems like it was so long ago because the Dodgers have been dominant, but once upon a time, this was your division. I mean,
3 World Series in 5 years. Yeah,
it's tough.
They've dropped off.
Willie Adames is great, but I hate to say it, he's not going to save you, Giants. So
No, he's not.
that's not happening. Corbin Burns, shout out to you. Well done. Going to the Diamondbacks, they're a good team. Dodgers, hey, they're going to have to keep loading up. They're going to have to keep loading up.
They're doing
and people are going to get more and more upset. But remember, before we get upset, the Dodgers won the World Series last year with Yamamoto, right? Walker Buehler, Jack Flaherty, Mr. Journeyman himself, Walker Buehler coming off his second Tommy Johns, and a bullpen. So,
and also get upset at your own team for not spending. Like they're all, we've talked about it. They're all billionaires. Like they can afford to pay players and to pay the luxury tax. The Dodgers are just willing to do it. Jeff Passan had a great tweet.
Deferred money's not new. It's not new. Been happening for years.
It's only big on the Dodgers right now because of Shohei deferred like his whole contract essentially. But before, like, it's been going on for decades.
And also, Shohei's making plenty with Reebok, so he's fine.
But it was also Shohei's idea. It wasn't the Dodgers' idea. It was Shohei's idea. So
he offered the same to multiple teams, and no one else wanted to take it.
Exactly.
So there you go. Big Z, this has been fun. Say bye to the people.
People, hope you have a great, happy new year. We'll be coming at you guys this week with some tweets and some videos, but we love you guys. We're ready to kick this new year off with you guys. We cannot wait. We have a lot of cool things planned, but thanks for tuning in. Have a great week.
Have a great week, great weekend, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening. Happy Monday, hopefully, for those who are just getting out there. You got this. We believe in you. Get through your week. New Year's is just a couple days away, and then we get to do it all over in 2025.
That's right. Let's do it.
Have a great day. Thanks for listening, and hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Tell your friends. We're Brevity Sports. Thanks for listening.